South Street Seaport and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, we have huge news in the NBA. James Harden is unhappy with the direction that the Houston Rockets are going. And if he were to be traded, his preferred destination would be to the Brooklyn Nets. He's spoken to Kevin Durant about it, according to our reporters. That would make Irving, Durant, and Harden all on the same team. What do you think about this potential move?
And also it'll further the fact that I don't like it overall, Jacoby. I see James Harden as a lead singer. I don't see him as a backup. I don't see him as a member of the band. And you know what else I don't see him doing? Spotting up off the ball, cutting off the ball, moving without the ball. That's just not his game anymore. There's a reason why he averaged 36 points in the NBA last year. James Harden needs that ball in his hands. And you know who else does? Kyrie Irving. Like, KD is going to be 6'10" and be able to get his shot off whether he playing with Russ or whether he be able to play with the Splash Brothers. But these two guys in particular are two of the best in the game at isolation. And sometimes when you isolate, that means your usage is high. Look at both of those are in the top 10. We just saw that with James and Russ. But also look at dribbles per touch. You see that, Jacoby? 25th. That means one guy's having the ball, the other guy is standing. And that's not necessarily the strength of what we're seeing that made both of these guys great in their own right.
And let's not forget the other side of the ball as well. Neither of these guys have a reputation of being a lockdown defender. Great offensive players, two of the best offensive players in the game now and in history. But neither of these guys have great defensive abilities. And also, Jalen, you've got Kevin Durant. You've got Kyrie Irving. You don't need to add a third superstar. You need to add pieces that complement those two. And that's the Brooklyn side. You know who else I don't like this for? I don't like this for the Houston Rockets. Why would you trade James Harden when you've built around him a championship competition, a championship competing team you've built around him in the past? If you're going to trade someone, I'm not taking calls on Harden. I'm taking calls on Westbrook. Until Harden stops showing up, I'm not even talking about trading James Harden, the best, if not one of the best NBA basketball players offensively in the entire league. Now, Jalen, that's not the only big news we have in the NBA. The Lakers, the champions, have made a move in theory. Basically, Danny Green and some other pieces for OKC's Dennis Schoder. Schoder, if you weren't paying attention, had a great year last year. One of the leading vote getters and sixth man of the year. What does the addition of Schoder mean for the Los Angeles Lakers?
It solidifies them at the position because he can finish games, because he competes defensively, he can make an open shot, but also he can come off the bench. And his youthful enthusiasm and his athleticism is going to be something that allows the team to continue to play fast. And so he's going to be a guy that can now get you in 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, and things of that nature, especially if they bring back Avery Bradley. So now all of a sudden you improve your backcourt by losing Rondo and Danny Green. You bring back Avery Bradley, plus you add Dennis Schoder. But here's what I want to say about the three letters on his jersey. OKC. Now, here's the pro. They have 15 picks, I think, over the next 3 drafts. But here's the con. They've become the best farm NBA system we have going in the league. Every time I look around, okay, you let James Harden go, okay, he just becomes an MVP. You let KD go, he becomes 2 times finals MVP. Russ is going to resurface. CP3 is going to resurface. Serge Ibaka went to Toronto, won a championship, and likely is going to end up with the Nets with KD again. So OKC, with Sam Presti, one of the best GMs in the league, here's my challenge to them for their fans. Are you guys rebuilding to rebuild, never to truly pay and to never truly contend? Because that's the wheel that that's the hamster wheel that I continue to see them playing under. It's almost like seasons like last year are what they're bolding for, to outplay expectations, not necessarily get over the top and bring their fan base a championship. Hopefully these draft picks that they've stockpiled become great players so that their team doesn't continue to see their best players balling elsewhere.
Jalen, don't forget Jeremy Grant as well. And that's analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. Do you know what else you're not going to hear anywhere else? What this really means to me, Kyle Kuzma's expendable. Kyle Kuzma just became expendable. He wanted a big extension, and when you bring in Schroeder, he can solidify that second team. Kyle Kuzma never established himself as that third star or third go-to player in the Lakers last year. If I'm Kyle Kuzma right now, I'm not buying in Los Angeles because he's a great trade piece that they could trade to get better complementary players for AD, LeBron, and now Schroeder. Keep an eye on them. Moving. Kyle Kuzma. I want to talk about boxing for a second, Mr. Rose, because there was a fight on Saturday.
Breaking news from the NBA, Adrian Wojnarowski, our senior NBA insider with us. Woj, what do you have?
The big one, Chris Paul is headed to the Phoenix Suns. He'll go on a multi-player deal from Oklahoma City. And now the Suns and Robert Sarver in the Western Conference, they become a real factor in this Western Conference race. Devin Booker very much wanted Chris Paul in this trade and really push the organization. And now Chris Paul is headed in a package that I'm told is going to include Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, Jalen LeCue, a 2022 first-round pick from Phoenix to Oklahoma City, who now have 17 first-round picks between now and 2026, and Ty Jerome, who was a draft pick of theirs last year in Phoenix. But for the Suns, bringing on Chris Paul at this point in his career off of a tremendous season, really recreated his value again with the Thunder last year. There were those who thought Oklahoma City might have to give an asset to get his contract off, and instead they get some good young players. They get another first-round pick. But the Suns, who played great in the bubble this summer with Monty Williams, Chris Paul, this is the first time in a very long time Robert Sarver has had this kind of leadership with this organization. And Chris Paul gets a chance to be with a young team with very much of an upward trajectory in the Western Conference.
So what's the long-term plan for OKC in making this move?
Well, you're going to continue to see OKC with these veteran players continue, I think, to move off assets. They have Steven Adams. They have, certainly still an all-star level center in the Western Conference. They traded Dennis Schroeder. That was finalized. He goes to the Lakers. But this is an Oklahoma City team that's got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's their point guard of the future. And they have more assets than any organization has ever assembled and putting together a rebuild, and they're going to get a lot of cracks at it. They got 2 first-round picks in this draft Wednesday night.
Chris Paul to the Suns, OKC rebuilding for the future. Adrian Wojnarowski with the very latest. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Jay.
NBA champion once again.
Jeff Zilgett.
LeBron, 3 seasons ago, after you beat Toronto, you told Cleveland.com that you didn't have anything left to prove, or you asked what you have left to prove. And I wanted to know if that's changed over the past 3 years. Did you feel you had something to prove, and why is this one so important for you?
I think, personally, thinking I had something to prove fuels me, and it fueled me over these last year and a half since my injury. It fueled me because no matter what I've done in my career up to this point, there's still a little rumblings of doubt or, comparing me to, the history of the game and has he done this, has he done that, so having that in my head, having that in my mind, saying to myself, why not still have something to prove? I think it fuels me.
Dave McMenamin.
LeBron, all the circumstances surrounding this one, being in Orlando, having 4.5-month hiatus, away from family, everything going on in the country, how does that add context to this fourth ring versus the other three?
I think they're all special in their own right. They all have their